What's up guys, Nightingale here, and welcome to another beginner's hand guide video. Today we are covering Seaside Bellona versus Furious. Now, I wanted to do this one because this is one that typically comes up a lot of who do I pick, which one do I use. I'm using both in the same team. And I'm here to tell you why and how you should go about using it if you were planning on using these units in Wyvern and why you would or would not want to use one over the other. We're going to cover this all in great detail. So, first thing I want to do today is point out that we are dealing with one, a 5-star, and two, a 4-star unit. So there are certain things that you want to consider here. SSB is kind of a waste. I hate to say it, kind of a waste for Wyvern. She does so much more, and most of you that, pop in and out of my chat, you're trying to get her in your Wyvern team. You want to use her for Wyvern. I get it. She's great. She's good. She does a lot of really cool things. Her animations are cool. She looks cool. She's one of the most broken characters in the game. Whatever you want to tag her as, you're trying to use her. And here's the thing. Here's the sad reality. She only works for one or the other, depending on how she's built. I covered this in the SSB overview video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But Furious has one job and one job only. Well, two jobs. Crit rate buff, defense break. That's his job. He does negative damage, literally negative damage, so don't count him as a damage dealer. You don't build him for damage. You just build enough effectiveness and enough speed to get 10 speed faster, and we go from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Furious, because everybody can get a hold of Furious. Furious is a 4-star character. You can get him from your connections, which is the little character that sits up and away from your lobby table. You'll click there, and he's inside there. You have to beat chapter 2, 3, 10, I believe, to unlock him. He's a cool character. He's great for a lot of beginning people who are wanting to get into the Wyvern grind. Why? He's easy to get a hold of. He takes very little gear investment. All you need is 65% effectiveness and 10 speed faster than your fastest DPS unit. He doesn't matter where he goes. Your Soul Weaver tank can go first. It does not matter. And a debuffer, if that's all they do is debuff, they don't need the crit rate buff. So he could technically go there. But in most cases, he's probably the first one off on your team because he's going to crit rate buff everybody so that everybody has extra damage. Now, he has minimal cost, so do note this. If you're going to do this before you Friendship 10 him, you will not get any molas back ever. Because you should never plus 15 Furious. As I did early on, I didn't care. I thought we'd full build him eventually. No, that's not the case. If you fully mola him, you will never get your molas back off of this. Sad. So what I mean by that is when you hit Friendship 10, you get 3 skill points, which if we jump right here to skills, you can see the skill points right here, and you can spend these inside skills. The reason being is because Furious, you only level up his skills exactly like this. +1 on skill 2, +6 on skill 3, and you walk away. He is nothing more, nothing less. What is this skill 2, you say? It's Morale Boost, which is the critical hit chance increased and grants an extra turn. You do want the skill cooldown here. It will be very, very helpful. And then we have Fatal Bullet, which is the defense break. At +6, it will give you the 100% chance. Now, this is where you're probably going to sit for a while, is waiting for the skill points to do this. So you may be sitting around a 90% chance to defense break, which added up, you're going to fail a little bit more. But yes, this is technically probably where most of you are going to end up, is waiting to enhance this. Because he does need the skill cooldown to be able to cycle skill 2, skill 3 every time it comes up. So you will need that so that he can keep that rotation. So most of you, if you're going to be super min-max, if you don't care about 3 Molagoras and you're like, I'm good, I'm never going to care, great. I wish I had never done that and waited to it be skill points. But I also pulled him out before he was Friendship 10. Notice that. So, Furious is super, super easy. He can put on a lot of artifacts in the beginning because a lot of you don't have a very certain artifact. And what artifact is that, you say? It's on my ice area. A lot of you want Song of Stars on Furious. Why? Because it gives you at +15 a 75% chance to apply a target for 2 turns. What is this so important for? Is because target is it's a debuff that allows the targeted target to take more damage. More damage, debuffs. See where we're going here? So this is the most recommended artifact for him. Now, sure, you could technically pop on. I ran him with, I ran Furious for a while with Miss Confile just because I had it. I've run it with Rosa and Infinity Basket. Heck, you could even technically put Water Gun on, or the water shooter if you technically had it, if you need it. But it's technically you really want that Song of Stars so that you're applying 2 debuffs on Furious as many times as he can attack. So with Furious, something to note here is you only need 10 molas, 16 total Twisted Fangs to get his skills enhanced. He needs 6 Blazing Souls if you're going to go into his skills, which I don't recommend. Actually, no, that is incorrect. He does not need 6 Blazing Souls because you're not going to skill up his stuff. You need 37 Frost Runes to take him to force to 3-star Awakening. You need 18 Greater Frost Runes if you want to take him all the way to 4 stars, and 14 Epics if you want to fully 6-star him. Furious is one of the few characters in Wyvern that functions complete as a 5-star. Some people even keep him as a 4-star. I personally would rather have the extra stats on him just in case he does get hit. He's not just insta-popping and it's over. He might live. Occasionally, he can take a hit from one of the smaller minions and you're not failing the run based off of that. That's why I wanted him 5-star. You get him fast enough, he defense breaks, you get your team rolling, he could technically stay at 4-star. It really depends on where your count is at. As far as catalyst for his Awakening, it's 12 Ultra Fangs and 8 Blazing Souls for the Awakening. Hopefully you never use the Blazing Souls for the Awakening. It's not necessary. Unless something later down the road comes in that Furious gets a buff or an exclusive equipment that changes some things. For now, you need to go no further than this on Furious. Now, his something to note is his team imprint is crit rate, which is great, but you don't need it. He's got a 50% buff on his skill too, which will stay up at all times. And unfortunately, they troll you with giving him a attack percent self-imprint. Yeah, he does negative damage. Let's increase negative damage by percentage of negative damage. So Furious is just a debuffer, and keep that in mind. Now, we're going to talk about Seaside Bellona. Now, most of you want to build her out. Some of you are coming in here wanting to go right for Wyvern with her. Now, keep in mind, as of the video, it's August 25th today as I'm recording this video. Seaside Bellona was run at the beginning of July. If you're watching this, and it is nowhere near July, and you have not pulled SSB and you're a new player, she will not be back till next July. So this information here is irrelevant. This is for anybody who started playing around the time I did, or before, and never pulled Seaside Bellona, or has had Seaside Bellona and just never used her. This information is for you. Now, why I want to talk about this is just to clarify a couple things. We're comparing them right now for Wyvern, but I'll give you my assessment in a minute about PvP. So, for Wyvern, she will need to be built completely different than what you see on my build. Now, why is this relevant? Is because notice her stats. We have very high attack. We have a lot more bulk than normal. We have, the speed is about right for Wyvern, honestly. Her crit chance would technically be overcapped. Her crit damage is non-existent. There's a reason for that. And her effectiveness is good. This is honestly good for Wyvern. Now, in terms of artifact, she would actually be on a Daydream Joker if you were wanting to put her in Wyvern. Now, for those of you who are going to want to sit here and make a comment about Wyvern one-shot, you are correct. She will need Rengar's Drink for Wyvern one-shot, but it needs to be level 30. If you were lucky enough to get a level 30 Rengar's Drink, congratulations, you have one step closer to achieving your Wyvern one-shot. All you need now is Karen and Sangelica, and you probably are really close to getting a Wyvern one-shot team. You just now need to speed tune it, and you'll be good to go. But in this case, if you're just going to use her as an actual farmer, she's going to need roughly this in stats, plus this crit damage is going to need to be a lot more, which means you're going to lose attack. So, your SSB will probably be sitting around 3,500 attack with having crit damage, because you probably have a crit damage neck. I have an attack percent neck, and your crit chance will want to be lower because you have Furious. With her investment cost, she's a full send character. This isn't a character you just put a few molas in and you walk away. She is a full send max character. And let's cover why. Again, if you've seen the SSB video, you know why, but in case you haven't, I'm going to quickly go over this. Her skill 1 applies target, which is great. So you will want to at least go up to the effect chance, but this skill is one of her main damaging skills. You'll be using this a good bit, and I have killed many units with this, but you will want the extra 20% damage on this skill. Especially if you're talking one of the main wyvern damage dealers, since it'll be probably her and Sigrid on your team, you'll want her to have as much damage as possible. Now we're going to talk about her skill 3 next. Her skill 3 has duplicate buffs, or duplicate debuffs from Sigrid, so do note this. The unhealable buff is a duplicate buff from Sigrid's S2. That's important because you can only refresh it. They are not stackable. I'm not sure if the unbuffable can be applied. I have not run her in Wyvern to check. And I'll be honest, I haven't paid attention to runs to see if the unbuffable stacks. I think that's one of the few buffs that does not apply to the Wyvern. So you may see an immunity or a resist. I'm not 100% sure. I should have checked this, but I didn't. But for just the sake of the video, I'm pretty sure that doesn't stack and that doesn't go on the boss. Now, what most people want her for is the defense break. At least that's what they think they want her for. Now, the difference is here, versus some other characters, this passive is more beneficial to you than using others. The difference is here is that she shares 30% of damage suffered with the foremost ally, meaning if it's Angelica or General Purgus or whatever, Momo, she's going to share the damage with them if she gets hit. Now, the only time she should technically be getting hit is in that first phase. That's the only time that's really acceptable that she actually directly gets hit. If she's getting hit anywhere else, you're probably doing Wyvern wrong. Now, skip down a little bit further. She will gain focus every time the ally is attacked. Great. So now, anytime that your tank is attacked, she's going to gain focus. Once she has reached 5 focus, she's going to use the skill called You're Not Cute. You're Not Cute attacks all enemies with a fan with a 50% chance to defense break. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. This is only a 50% chance every time an enemy gets attacked, or every time an ally gets attacked 5 times. The Wyvern attacks in patterns of 3. So if you're getting attacked in patterns of 3, that should probably give you a clue this isn't going to be going off all the time. And with a 50% chance, it's not a 100% chance to defense break. So this is where technically some people would actually put Miss Confile on to hope that her S1 or her S3 can apply a defense break as well. Now we're talking about a limited artifact again, but that's a very subjective thing. You still technically want to put her on Daydream Joker for the extra damage. Now, let's talk about why people want one over the other. In reality, you shouldn't actually run both of these on the same team, and if you paid attention so far, you probably know why. If your Furious is properly built, he has a 100% chance to defense break, and he's giving you a crit rate buff. If he has Song of Stars, he has a 75% chance to always apply target on any one of his skills, his S1 or his S3. SSB has target on her skill 1. She will always S3, then she will S1. Anytime You're Not Cute activates, it wouldn't apply. You could technically put Song of Stars on her as well. She is a ranger. She could take the artifact, but it's built into her skill 1, so it would be a waste. You see where I'm going here? Now, back to my earlier statement about the crit damage, is because with Rengar's Drink, it's not going to do as much damage. I'm building mine for PvP so that the Rengar's Drink passive procs off of the max attack. So the higher her attack is, the more damage Rengar's Drink does. It does not scale off crit damage. So there's no point in putting crit damage in on her kit if I'm using for PvP. Which is why a PvP SSB isn't going to be as viable for Wyvern, or specifically for Wyvern 13. Now, I've seen people and I've helped people set up teams to use both. It's very redundant in its debuffs, which is great because you've got the guaranteed debuff of Furious, you've got the backup of SSB, and you've got the guaranteed target. So now, yes, you could technically put a new artifact on Furious so that you're not having to run the target. But if you have a fully stable team and you're not trying to force SSB into your team, specifically, we're not talking one-shots, keep that in mind, we're just talking a normal wyvern farm, it's better to take her off your team. But if it's the only unit you've got, you don't have Song of Stars, then yes, technically, SSB could probably do you better because of her target. Now, with the way my team's set up, I would never be able to fit her in. I feel like it would be an absolute waste to put her away in just wyvern and lock her away in that purgatory. There's no reason for it. There is so much content that I have been able to clear with this SSB. She beat floor 100 with me. We have done Guild Wars very well with her. She works when in mock battle. She's very skilled with where she's at, with how I've got her built in her starter build. Yes, this is the starter build. I haven't been able to perfect it or work on it yet. I'll be honest, I haven't even seen anything worth a crap keeping a hold of HP defense to even an attack to even be able to try to start replacing the gear here. Because it rolled well, but I would like to see more defense and I'd like to see more HP, and I would just love to get that 2 more attack on her. I really would. It would be great. But I'll get that off of Rengar's Drink eventually. So the sooner I get this leveled up, the closer I'll get to getting her above 4,500 attack. Literally 1 level should do it. But I feel like with a lot of players, they try to force her in, and they're like, I want SSB on my wyvern team. It's a blue unit. I need to make it work. Try not to force her into it. If it's a must, do it. The basic build for her at that point, you would want something where she's roughly 170, 180 speed. She's going to be going off on her S2 every 5 attacks. You're going to need 50% crit rate. You're going to want a good bit of crit damage because she can do damage. I'm not saying she's not a damaging unit. Just if you're using her in PvP, you're more worried about this artifact than you are crit damage. Now, you can make other builds, especially if you're not going to use Rengar's Drink. They're out there. But for the way I'm going to be using her, this is the more preferred way to use SSB, is to have her PvP focused and being able to be used in PvE content. Now, yes, when she crits, she does negative crit damage. It's not like it's anything important. It's the 150%, no extra bonuses. But when Rengar's Drink pops, it takes a decent chunk, so I kind of look at it as it makes up the difference. Not that it will always make up the difference, especially if you're using Daydream Joker, but that's the way I'm looking at it. And from what I've seen and how I've been playing, I haven't missed not having her in there. Again, I'm using Luluka and Clarissa as defense breakers, so I do have redundant debuffs there. We have the redundant debuff of the bleed, which is great because Sigrid and the bleeds, again, the way her kit works, everything synergizes around the skill that she had. Let's see here. Where is she? Oh, yeah, she's got no gear on her, so she's right here. So everything scales around the penetration of her guillotine. More bleeds, the more it pens. So that redundancy is good. But when it comes to Furious and SSB, especially if you have Song of Stars, it is pretty redundant. At that point, you could put somebody in like Clarissa into your team. You could do other things. If you're going to use SSB, at least SSB functions as the defense breaker and targeter, with now bringing in Clarissa or Luluka or some other good blue defense breaker that's going to do their job. I know a lot of you are trying to fit Rim into your teams right now. She only really works on a one-shot team. That's really the only place Rim belongs, because the way her passive works, she has to be hit. She theoretically should never be getting hit. So therefore, in this case, the redundancy of trying to bring her in for an extra backup defense break, she's not. If you're going to use her, eventually work towards her being the one-shot unit like Secret's place. So my opinion to everybody is, if you're in the beginning and you're newer and you are post SSB banner, Furious is the unit for you for the next year. If you have been prior to SSB's banner and you've pulled SSB and you're you're struggling and you don't really want to invest into Furious because you know you're going to eventually do some other things, or you've got other units, or you're just desperate for the target debuff, or you're wanting to get her set up eventually for Wyvern one-shot, then sure, you can use SSB. My opinion is Furious over those two, and then obviously there are other options and other blue ice units that work really, really well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, if you have any comments, that's the bigger thing. If you guys have any comments on this, questions, because I know this one's going to be a little controversial, because I'm telling you not to use SSB, which is really weird, because she's a great unit. but this is just isn't her place. Feel free to hit me up in the comments below, and I'll help you talk you through it. Maybe if you misunderstand something, I'm really happy to help. You can come hang out with me on stream and all that stuff. Especially because we've been putting out this series a good bit about comparing to. I want to make sure you guys feel like you can come to me and ask me questions about this, because I want you guys to feel comfortable with your choices, especially when picking Wyvern team units, because this is such an important step. Conquer Wyvern, then you can conquer the rest of the game. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.